Welcome back to r/neighbors from hell, where people share stories about their crazy neighbors, and if you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to join our amazing community, and without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. The first one is titled, "Neighbors constantly sneak into my pool to have intercourse. I got them arrested for trespassing while naked." I had always grown up wanting to have a pool in my backyard, so when it was finally time for me to buy my own home, I wanted to make sure I lived in an area where I would be allowed to have one. It was not anything super fancy, but I really liked having it, especially in the summer when it was hot out and I did not feel like driving around looking for a public pool. Having my own was just easier, and I could even invite my friends over and have pool parties. Of course, having something like this caused me to know that eventually I was going to have trouble. I just did not know when and how bad it would be. I had read stories of neighbor kids sneaking into pools and such, so I thought that might have been an issue, but it never was. I did not even have a real fence around my property, it was just a gate that honestly anyone could reach over and unlock. Then new neighbors happened, and to this day I have no idea how long this had been going on. I am on a kind of very set schedule, so someone living near me usually knows when I leave and when I come back. My guess is that once neighbors knew my schedule, they were going to take full advantage of my pool and then get back to their house before I got home and could notice. The only issue was one day in the summer it was so hot that the mass amounts of air conditioning being used shorted out the whole power grid and my office lost power. There was no way to do any work because of this, so we were all just sent home early to suffer the heat in our own houses. Of course, for me, this was a great opportunity to take a nice cooling dip in my pool. I pulled into the driveway, went into my house, changed into my trunks, and then went out my back door only to see my neighbors in my pool kissing each other. I was beyond angry and was going to let the two of them have it, despite me being usually level-headed. Me, "What the hell are you doing in my pool?" Neighbor,
"Oh, you usually are not home this early. I thought with the heat it would be alright for us to take a dip."
Me, "You cannot just go onto my property without so much as asking and use the excuse that you didn't think I would catch you. Get out right now and get off my property." It was not until they got out of the pool that I could see both of them were totally naked and trying their best to cover up in front of me. I was both shocked and angry because it does not take a genius to figure out what the two of them were doing in there. Me, "You did not even wear a swimsuit to take a dip." Neighbor,
"Well, we always have wanted to try, in a pool, and since it was so hot today."
Me, "Just stop talking and get out of my yard now." I obviously did not feel like going in the pool after knowing what they did and realized that I sadly needed to up my security a little bit. I got a real fence around my property and replaced the gate with one that you cannot just reach over and open. Since my schedule is still set though, I wanted a little extra protection and got a single camera facing my backyard so I could keep an eye on them. I guess they did not think it was such a big deal, because it did not take long for the two of them to get over the fence and start having intercourse in my pool again, this time not knowing that they were on video. I warned them again and told them that I was sending the evidence to the police if they ever came onto my property again. Now, I am a pretty nice guy, so I can admit that I understand someone thinking that I'm all talk and no action, since I have not called the police on them already. They must have thought the same thing, because of course they came back again. This time though, the neighbor tried to throw a towel over the camera to block it from watching them, which did not make much sense because by doing that, he was still clearly on film being on my property and now messing with my camera. I guess he did not want me seeing them naked again, even though I have now seen it twice. I stepped away from my desk and made a call to the police saying that my camera saw two people trespass onto my property and cover up the cameras. I decided to not tell them what I assumed the couple were doing and instead just wait till later to give them the video they wanted. I know some of you wish I could have been there to tell the story of what it was like for the officers to find the two of them in my pool, and trust me, I would have too, but it is a long drive and I did not want to lose paid hours over those two idiots. I will say though that the police did catch them in the act, as they were giving me a report later of what happened on the scene. The towel got taken off the camera very late into the police being there, so I did not even get to see them getting arrested through that. I did offer them the old footage to show that they had done this before, and they took it, but said they might not need it at the end of the day. They did get arrested for trespassing, but I don't think being naked got them any extra charges because they were not on public property, they were on my private property. Considering how embarrassed they were that I saw them naked, I am sure a bunch of police officers seeing them naked and anyone outside seeing them getting arrested must have been mortifying. Since the matter was between them and the police though, I never found out exactly what kind of punishment they got for it. My guess would be some kind of fine, because they did not end up going to jail. They were back home pretty much the next day, but I think if they trespassed and got arrested for it again, they would have been in bigger trouble. Every time I had the misfortune of making eye contact with them, they would sneer at me like I was the one that did something wrong. Meanwhile, I just still cannot get over how little shame someone must have to get naked and go into your neighbor's pool to have intercourse with your wife. Finally, I just want to let everyone know that because I was so skeeved out by this, I had the pool drained, cleaned and refilled. I know that with the chlorine there probably wasn't anything too bad in there, but it was more of a mental thing. At the end of it all, I got my pool back, and according to my camera, the only other living things that get anywhere near it besides me are the occasional bird or squirrel that want to investigate it. I think the fence and camera are still going to stay up for a while because neighbor basically broke any trust I have with everybody in the neighborhood. I hope that they learned their lesson, and if they ever trespass again, they get arrested and go to jail that time. I just wish the images that I have seen of those two could be bleached out of my mind. And yeah, Ripe Stars, I gotta say, this OP once again was pretty calm, and I definitely would have reacted differently if I would have been in this situation. However, now I would love to hear from you. If you would have been the OP in the story, what would you have done instead? Also, I'm kind of curious what the charges could be for someone messing with your security cameras. Either way, if you enjoy the stories about outrageous neighbors, then I would really appreciate it if you could post some star emojis in the comments if you want to support my channel. Thank you so much in advance. The next one is titled Papers, Please. For several years, I was a field scientist for an environmental company who was a contractor for one of the major oil corporations. The oil corporation was absolutely nuts about safety procedures, not out of a desire to protect people, but to limit their legal liability. We were required to have government safety certification as well as corporate safety certification, and to be able to present this certification at any time. My company risked losing our contract with them if we did not adhere to the often absurd safety requirements. One day I was scheduled to be on a particular job site alone, and word came down the chain of command that I was going to have a corporate safety manager visit me to observe me working. This was not any manager though, he was a big shot who oversaw a 7-state area. He could cause major trouble if I deviated from the rules in the slightest. I was on site and the manager shows up. I head over and greet him, I shake his hand and ask to see his safety certification cards before we continue. He pauses for a moment and starts rifling through his wallet. After a minute, he can only provide one of the 2 necessary safety cards. I inform him that I cannot allow him on site without proof of safety certification, and he replies,
Hoisted by my own petard,
turns on his heels and leaves. I finished up the job quickly and safely and returned to the office. When I got back, everyone had already heard what happened, and my manager congratulated me on making the company look good and for having the balls to kick one of the top managers of a multi-billion-dollar company off of a job site. The next one is titled, So you want a professional. Part of my awful job includes a KPI for mentoring graduates from our horrible graduate program. Let's call it Aurora. The company prides itself on the fact that these Aurora graduate kids come from the top 1% of students at the top 1% of schools. Correspondingly, they are the most arrogant little wankers you have ever met in your life, and they think they know everything, even though half of them still live with their parents and have to ask permission to bring a girl home. Absolute idiots. Side note, the only good thing nowadays with the price of oil on the floor is that the company screwed them all off and suspended the program. Huzzah! These kids are from work experience drones interns in that they have finished college and I actually have to teach them stuff. If you use them to get coffee and photocopy stuff, they will complain to the Aurora coordinator that you have given them useless busy work and then you are in deep trouble. They also get a say in your performance appraisal, so in my team I get 4 Aurora kids, 3 blokes and a girl. The girl is fantastic, happy to help out and a wizard at our horrible document SharePoint thing. I would call her the Grand Wizard of Documents, but some other groups stole the name the Grand Wizard, so I cannot really use it. She goes to work straight away and I ended up keeping her to feed and walk, getting her out of the crappy Aurora program and assigned to my group permanently. Damn, I could tell a million stories just about her and our crappy management. Of the 3 blokes, 1 is alright. I rate him as just high enough above mediocre that someone else can take him off of my hands. Number 2 is an annoying floof that I put up with for all of 15 seconds. I took them to the pub for an intro thing and he ordered a mojito, which irked my sense of A, people ordering stupid cocktails, and B, asswipes ordering expensive stuff on other people's tabs. Just to be clear, I have no issue with gay people, anyone can marry or screw whoever they want to, but that camp acting like a schoolgirl BS is annoying as hell, not to mention they would probably throw you overboard the minute you went offshore and called the tool pusher darling. Maybe that works in the Navy, but not so much in oil and gas. The other, Tony, is useless as an a-hole on an elbow. Completely useless. Nobody wants to take him because he is an idiot and I cannot drop him since he is an Aurora kid and their contracts are 1 year minimum. He wanted more professional development. I've already cut him the papers to go APPEA, AOG and drill-safe conferences and he still wants more. But I cannot be bothered and I don't have the budget. I've already explained to him that he has had more time at industry events than most employees. I also offered to take him offshore, but he refused because he is a scared little girl. It is not relevant. You've got a bachelor's in petroleum engineering. You cannot get more relevant than being on a drilling rig on an exploration well. However, I cannot force him if he doesn't want to go. Now, getting back on topic, one of the miserable things about being a manager is that I have a billion stupid meetings to go to, half of which are optional invites, but you look like a very conspicuous idiot if you don't turn up. Ops meetings, QSMs, CQMs, town halls, project reviews, DWOPs, CSR meetings, business partner meets, service partner meetings, you get the point. Complete waste of my time. Well, most of them are. This brings us back to the damn Tony. Damn Tony. He is an Aurora graduate, so he is protected by powerful friends, and I cannot use any of my usual weapons such as PMPs on him. I also cannot give him an eBay A++ highly recommended review to foist him off on someone else because his last appraisal was awful and it would look suspicious if not completely transparent. I also need to keep him marginally happy or I will get a bad review from the intolerable little person. Now I have the miserable little guy in a performance appraisal and we get to professional development. Out of the blue, I also get a really evil idea to make his life miserable and my life better. Because why not? So, Tony, says I see you have listed APPEA, AOG and drill safe.
Yeah,
he replies. Those were good, but I'm not really sure how relevant they are to my degree. A little birdie also told me that at APPEA, which costs $4,000 to attend, he didn't go to any of the technical papers or discussions, he just hung around the booth flirting with the little blonde things and collecting a garbage bag full of USBs, pens and stress balls. Absolutely useless. True, I say. It's a lot of technical theory stuff. How would you like something more practical?
I don't want to go offshore,
he says.
I already told you it's not relevant to what I studied.
No, not what I had in mind. How would you like to be my personal representative at some important discussions? Looks good on your resume, and you would see how things are done in actual operations.
Sure,
says he.
Sounds good,
he says. Such an idiot. He signs the review form, I sign the review form, I email the whole lot off to Satan's HR. And now he is mine. First cab off the rank, a half-day DNC town hall, 4 hours long. I call Tony into my office. There's a chance for you to attend this thing, but it is damn important. You think you can handle it?
Oh yeah,
he says.
Not a problem.
Alright, I forward the invite to him and send my own apologies. Please accept Tony's attendance in my stead. He will be there for his agreed professional development. Tony is sent with instructions to take notes on everything as it is critical. To his lack of credit, he does 10 pages of handwritten notes thanking me for letting him attend this high-level function. I tell him no problem and that he has done well before throwing the notes in the bin the moment he leaves. Round 2, contractor quality meeting, full day. I hate these things and I treat them with a level of contempt usually reserved for Canadian pop stars. Tony is enthusiastic, good. Poor kid looks like a wreck at 5:15 when he comes back to my office with another sheaf of handwritten notes. But he is happy. He got to meet a bunch of people from Halliburton and DOF. Unfortunately for him, he also has a day of his actual work to do as well.
But, he starts, how am I supposed to get all of that done when I have lost 2 days to meetings?
Well, Tony, says I, you've got to strike a balance. It is all well and good to go to conferences and workshops, but at the end of the day, the work still needs to get done. Claire came in last Saturday to finish up her assigned tasks, and sometimes you just have to do these things. Of course, I did not mention that Claire came in on Saturday because I gave her 2 days off during the week to move houses, and I will give her a crapload of leeway because she is a lifesaver. Do you still want to go to that risk and reliability workshop on Monday and Tuesday? I ask.
Definitely. It sounds really interesting.
No, it isn't. Not if you've ever been to one. Alright, says I will forward on the invite. Just keep in mind what I said about work balance. Anyway, the idiot managed to keep this up for about 2 or 3 months, and at that point, he was showing up to work looking like one of the zombies from The Walking Dead. Though frankly, I would rate the zombies as easier to work with because of their superior communication skills compared to Tony. He complains and moans that he is being overworked, but nobody cares because he keeps putting his hand up to anything and everything. He also refuses to give or receive help from others because he is too busy being, as he so humbly put it, a high achiever. After a while, he cozies up to the Aurora coordinator and gets approved for a few months of stress leave. Fortunately, that brings us through to the end of this year and I can finally F him off. He comes back from stress leave to sort out his appraisal and do all the usual housekeeping BS. His final appraisal, copied and pasted, read, Tony has shown great enthusiasm for taking on new tasks and tackling challenges, and he has embraced multiple opportunities over the past year to broaden his professional skills and experience. He shows a can-do attitude whenever the possibility of acquiring new skills arises. Unfortunately, he has a tendency to take such opportunities at the expense of tasks which are assigned. This has resulted in many of his normal duties having to be reallocated or carried out by other team members, and while his performance results in learning and development are outstanding, he has missed several important work-related KPIs. Therefore, I recommend that Tony should be considered for another year in the Aurora program. This should not be considered a reprimand, but an opportunity for him to develop the core professional skills of time management and working in a team to complete tasks. As Tony shows limited interest in the fieldwork, his future career may benefit from being placed in office-based positions such as business development or human resources.
And yeah, Ripe Stars, it's time for more Disney footage. I think Disney is... There's some little animal outside or something. I think she wants to get it. Right, Disney? Sometimes I'm not sure, you know, in Thailand, if like some insects are dangerous for cats, but I think it's not really dangerous. Here, this is Disney's house. Someone messed up the house sign, so maybe Disney does not know where it's her house or not. So yeah, Disney is looking for... Oh, let's let her out. Disney. Apparently that's... Oh yeah, there's that stupid little animal. So I guess... Oh yeah, there it is. Wow. And now it's flying away. I guess as you can see, we have pretty cool tree pretty much inside the house here. So this is my room, this is Disney's room. And yeah, we have this super cool tree here. And yeah, Disney really likes being outside here. So yeah guys, I hope you enjoyed the extra Disney footage and I see you again tomorrow.
And ripe stars, with this we have reached the end of the video. However, if you still cannot get enough of my content, then I would highly suggest to check out my endless binge watch playlist, which will soon show up in the left corner of the screen. In addition, I would really appreciate it if you could not only subscribe to the channel, but also turn on the bell notifications, which you can do by clicking on the little bell icon right next to the subscribe button. This will help my channel tremendously, and this will make sure that you don't miss any of my videos. Furthermore, if you want to see additional ripe content that I don't post on YouTube, then I would suggest to head on over to patreon.com/ripeyoutube for more than 50 exclusive videos that you will not see anywhere else. Thank you so much for your amazing daily support, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.